Hey everybody, this is Jeff joining you for our 16th edition of the Good News from Good News Gathering. This Saturday is July 4th, an important day in our nation's history. It's a day that we celebrate the declaration of the independence of our 13 original colonies from Great Britain. It's a day when many Americans fly a flag, gather with family and friends, shoot off fireworks, and enjoy the freedom passed down to us from generations that have gone before, many of whom have donned a uniform and fought and died. For me, July 4th stirs up feelings of gratitude and joy. Joy for the freedom I've been given, and gratitude for those who have and are securing it. In a typical year, those of us who live in the Hillsborough area would be heading uptown tonight for Christian music night at the Festival of the Bells. Every year I look forward to hearing praise music fill the air on the courthouse square. However, this year has been anything but typical. A virus has attacked the health of our nation, closing businesses, schools, and canceling 4th of July celebrations like the Festival of the Bells. And civil unrest is plaguing the heart and soul of our nation, causing many to question and re-examine our founding fathers and the foundation they laid. I realize that for many in our country, July 4th doesn't evoke the feelings of joy and gratitude that I feel. Many of our fellow citizens view our founders as oppressors and our governmental structure as systemically unjust. To me, it's heartbreaking. One of the reasons I look forward to Christian music night at the Festival of the Bells is that the stage where Christian artists sing praises to God faces the courthouse square. For me, that old brick courthouse, built nearly 200 years ago, represents the governmental institutions that guarantee our freedom. And the praise music represents that foundational belief in a creator God who rules the affairs of mankind. Now let's be honest. Were our founding fathers perfect? No. Were they flawed? No question. They were ordinary human beings with all the same sins, failings, and inconsistencies that we all struggle with. Those who idolize them and those who vilify them are equally wrong. But these imperfect men signed their names to a declaration that contained in its second sentence a stroke of pure, God-given genius. It has been called one of the best-known sentences in the English language, containing the most potent and consequential words in American history. It reads, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Now think about that sentence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. In other words, there is such a thing as absolute truth. Truth that is. Truth that stands unchanged through the ages, regardless of whether anybody believes it, or accepts it, or lives by it. Truth that is woven into the very fabric of the universe. And it's self-evident. In other words, it's obvious to thoughtful human beings, so much so that it goes without saying. And what is that self-evident truth? That all men are created equal. You see, equality is not the byproduct of blind evolution, and don't waste your time looking for equality in nature. It is the product of being created in the image of God. And as such, we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. That is, rights we possess as image bearers of God. These rights are not given to us by government, but by God Himself. We are not beholden to some hopefully benevolent government for these rights. They are the birthright of human beings created by God. And these rights include the right to life, to defend oneself from harm by others or by an overreaching and unjust government. Liberty, to live, speak, and worship freely without fear of government oppression. Pursuit of happiness, to pursue life on our own terms within the bounds of the law, to own property and have it safeguarded, to strive for the common good of the community. Now, did our founding fathers perfectly live out the lofty aspirations contained in this brilliant statement? Unfortunately, no. All men did not include Native Americans, African Americans, or women. But what they did ultimately create was a government structure in which these aspirations could be achieved. It would take a civil war 90 years later to end the atrocity of slavery led by Abraham Lincoln, who called the nation to live up to these founding words. It would take a civil rights movement 100 years after that, led by Martin Luther King, who referenced these words as a moral standard to which our country should strive. But the foundation was laid on July 4th, 1776. For this, we owe our founding fathers a debt of gratitude. It's easy for us, 244 years after the fact, to forget what signing the Declaration of Independence meant. For its 56 signers, it was an act of treason against the crown, punishable by death. They were, for all intents and purposes, signing their own death warrants. For them, Patrick Henry's famous words, "Give me liberty or give me death," were literally true. Interestingly, they signed their names under the Declaration's final phrase. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. For some, this pledge came true. Some fought in the Continental Army. Some lost family members. One signer's wife died due to complications from maltreatment while imprisoned by the British. Some had their homes ransacked and burned. Some died in poverty. Many stayed on the move to avoid detection, and one actually lived in caves. And so this 4th of July, I hope you'll take a moment to remember what our imperfect founding fathers managed to achieve, and that you'll remember with joy the tremendous gift of freedom their sacrifices laid the groundwork for. Because we live in a fallen world, America will always be a work in progress, and each generation has a role to play in fulfilling the aspirations of our Declaration of Independence. And what is our role? As the prophet Micah said in Micah 6:8, "What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." You see, we're to act justly, to do the right thing for the right reason in each situation, regardless of who we're dealing with. We're to love mercy. Not just be merciful, but to love showing compassion to those who are in need. And we're to walk humbly. To walk, in other words, as we go through our daily lives, we walk humbly or in obedience and under the direction of God's will. Where there is injustice, we must seek justice. Where there is wrong, we must stand for what's right. Where there is evil, we must work to bring about good. Where there is suffering, we must show compassion. Only in this way can we truly build on the foundation laid by our founding fathers. One of the things that gives me both gratitude and joy is that our founding fathers recognized our unalienable right to worship freely. And I'm especially excited that this weekend we'll be reopening our Next Gen department for children from nursery to 5th grade. Parents and grandparents, I think you'll be impressed by the changes Adam and his team have made in the nursery through 3rd grade areas. We have a new system for signing in the children, and as an added precaution, we will be taking each child's temperature, having them wash their hands when they enter the classroom. All the toys will be switched out between services. I'm looking forward to seeing our kids finally return to the ministry center. Also on Sunday, July 12th, we'll be having a baptism celebration that morning, and then that evening we'll be starting our Get Started Life Group. Cheryl and I host this 3-week group at our house from 6 to 7:30 p.m. This group will help you get started on the Bible and what it says about the basic beliefs of Christianity. To sign up for baptism or to get started in the Get Started group, just fill out the online Connect card or contact the church office at 937-393-5383. Finally, as excited as we are to fully reopen our public services, please remember, we can't guarantee a germ-free or a virus-free environment. So, please help your church family by observing the following precautions. First, please refrain from entering the ministry center if you're experiencing a fever, a respiratory illness, or if you've been exposed to someone who has the virus. And second, if you're in the at-risk age group, especially those who are 85 years of age and up, or if you have compromising health conditions, please use your best judgment as to whether or not you should attend. Friends, let's remember the words of the prophet Micah. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. If the G&G family lives this out, we will be what Christ called the light of the world, a city on a hill. We will be a beacon of hope in a broken, confused, scared, and chaotic world. And that, friends, will be good news for our community, our country, and our world. I love you all, and I hope to see many of you on Sunday. Take care, everybody.